They thought he was invisible. Just a cleaner with a mop, always sweeping up sweat from the gym floor, while others chased their dreams in the ring. But the night everything changed, when the lights were brightest and the crowd was laughing, he walked from mop to mat and delivered a single punch that made the world stop breathing. This isn't just a fight story. It's about dignity, about hidden strength, and about what happens when you underestimate the quietest man in the room. Stay with me until the end, because the punch is only half the story. The real knockout is what comes after. For years, Armin had lived in the shadows of the MMA gym. His job was simple: clean the mats, mop the sweat, take out the trash, and leave before the fighters wrapped up their sparring. He'd come to the city from a small town, carrying nothing but a duffel bag and a promise he'd made to his late father, that he'd find a way to live with honor, even if the world only handed him scraps. The fighters never noticed him, except to shove past or mock him. Some threw their water bottles on the floor, just to watch him bend and pick them up. Among them, the loudest was Victor, the star trainer, a man built like a machine, who loved to prove his dominance both inside and outside the ring. Armin had no answer but silence. He needed the job. He needed the small paycheck that barely kept him alive in a tiny rented room. But what no one knew was that while he scrubbed the gym floor, he watched every move, every strike, every defensive stance. He memorized it, absorbing years of training without ever putting on gloves. At night, when the gym was empty, he practiced alone in the dark. His punches leaded against the heavy bag with quiet fury, his kicks cutting through the air with precision. He didn't do it to be a fighter. He did it because somewhere inside, the boy who lost his father and carried the weight of poverty needed to feel strong, even when the world treated him like nothing. The turning point came during a promotional event the gym had organized. Dozens of people gathered: spectators, sponsors, fighters, all watching as Victor showed off his brutal techniques. The trainer's eyes scanned the crowd, looking for someone to humiliate. His gaze fell on Armin, who was sweeping in the corner. "Hey, mop boy!" Victor shouted, laughter following like a wave. "Why don't you show us if you've learned anything from watching us fight?" The crowd roared with amusement, and though Armin shook his head, trying to shrink into the background, Victor wouldn't let go. "What's the matter? Scared? Or maybe your mop hits harder than you do." The chants began, taunting him, forcing him toward the cage. Armin's hands trembled as he put down the mop. His heart pounded, his throat dry, but inside, a storm had been waiting for this very moment. He stepped into the ring, barefoot, facing Victor, who smirked as if the outcome was already written. The bell rang. Victor rushed forward, swinging with arrogance. Armin didn't flinch. He had studied this movement 1,000 times. He pivoted, drew from the countless nights of silent training, and with one perfectly timed punch, he struck. The sound was sharp, echoing like a thunderclap. Victor crumbled, unconscious before he hit the mat. The gym fell silent. The laughter, the mockery, all of it vanished in an instant. And there stood Armin, the cleaner, the invisible man, his fist still clenched, his chest heaving with a lifetime of suppressed strength. The world would later say it was a fluke, luck, an accident. But those who were there knew the truth. They had witnessed something raw, something undeniable. A man who had been forced down his whole life, finally standing tall. The story didn't end with the knockout. In fact, it had just begun. For in that moment, Armin wasn't just the cleaner anymore. He was proof that sometimes the ones sweeping the floor are the ones who carry the most power. Quietly waiting for the day they're called to rise.